afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming over here. There's a few people still coming, but we'll go ahead and get started. Ms. Jones, can you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Senator Wilk,
Present.
Senator Leyva, Senator Roth, Assemblymember Nazarian, Assemblymember O'Donnell,
Here.
Assemblymember Cunningham, Juan Morales,
Here.
Cesar Diaz,
Here.
Daniel Kim,
Here.
Gail Miller.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. Before we continue with the agenda, I'd like to note that at the end of today's meeting, the board will meet in closed session pursuant to Government Code 11126E1 for the purpose of conferring with and receiving advice from counsel regarding a pending lawsuit. And with that, we will move to tab 2, the minutes. Is there any public comment? May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Senator Wilk, seconded by Mr. Diaz. Ms. Jones, will you call the roll, please?
Senator Wilk,
Aye.
Assemblymember O'Donnell,
Aye.
Juan Morales,
Aye.
Cesar Diaz,
Aye.
Daniel Kim,
Aye.
Gail Miller.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Great, thank you very much. Next is the executive officer statement.
Yes, we have a few things to share with you tonight, and probably longer than the whole agenda itself. But I want to share with you, we have a new format, so we're actually happy that the first time through, we will have all our items meeting the accessibility guidelines. So this is great news, and I know it's been a heavy lift for our staff to get there, so we're really proud to have that moving forward on the first time through. Second item we want to share is the priority funding apportionment. So the board took action in September. That was nearly $800 million. And I know we reported out November 15th, we have close to $400 million. We're close to $500 million now, and it's still growing. So it's great news that we actually have a lot of funds going out. And so the fund releases are due to our office on Christmas Eve. So let's get that going, and we'll be happy to report out that all the money goes out in January, so we're looking forward to providing those updates. But again, those timelines are really important. The third item we want to share is a certification round that's currently open. So if you have an unfunded approval that was approved by the board July 1st through today, you have the ability to submit a certification for the spring bond sale. So let's encourage those folks to do that. And again, the timeline to submit your certification is December 12th. Next item I want to share, if I can move my tab over, is the Career Tech Education Round is still open, although the phase to submit your grant review did close on December 2nd with the Department of Education. And again, the goal is to have those projects come in with their scores on a flow basis from the Department of Education. And our funding deadline for those folks who have 105 or higher is April 6th, and I'm really pleased to share that we actually had a joint workshop on November 6th, and that was widely attended. So again, the goal is to have a lot of folks have access to the program funds, and I'll look to Mr. Morales to give us an update on the number of applications you have.
Yeah, we received 284 applications worth approximately $426 million in this last round. So we're going to be very busy the next couple of months, but look forward to reviewing the applications and then having the district submit the funding request to OPSC for final allocations.
So that looks like we'll have a huge commitment out of the $250 million, so looks like they may all be gone. The next item we wanted to share with the board is we're looking forward to some regulation updates in the facility hardship program, and wanted to thank Assemblymember Nazarian, and I know we had a conversation with him over the last few months about those changes. So I'm looking forward to adjust and have discussions about funding levels when it comes to facility hardship applications, modifying the regulations, and having a more streamlined process so districts can come in and have access to those program funds rather quickly, as opposed to, I know we have sometimes we have conversations about how we get there faster, but let's have some tools in place to make this program a lot easier to facilitate. So we're looking forward to bringing some stakeholder meetings January 10th and January 11th. We also wanted to share that we actually had participated in a school opening in Camp Pendleton. So this was San Onofre Elementary School. So this is great news. Nearly $11 million came from our program as a match. Department of Defense provided $45 million as far as their program guidelines. So again, this project had $56 million allocated to this project in Camp Pendleton. So this is great news. It was one of the fourth projects that was funded at Department of Defense. So we were excited about being there. And the last item I want to share is we have an open data portal that we just launched just the week of Thanksgiving. So this is great news. Folks who want to tee up, there's 12,000 records on the open data portal, and that summarizes $35 billion of program grants that have gone through the program. So we're really pleased that folks can now download that information. It's raw data. It's really useful. So please go to the California Open Data Portal.
Great.
And our next meeting is January 22nd.
Great, thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Morales and the CD for moving on those applications. We know they're really important, and that way we can sort of do our business. And then those, the interested parties meetings for the regulation changes will be on your website as well? And
Yes, we'll be
posted on all
publishing.
interested parties, great,
Right, are publishing our items next week.
great. Well, we're really grateful that you took the time to figure out how to streamline the processes and make them better, so thank you for that. Next, we're moving to the consent calendar.
Consent is ready for your approval.
Great, are there any questions from the board? It's been moved. Any public comment? Moved and seconded. And then, if there also is no objection, given that staff recommends support of the appeal for McFarland Unified, which is on page 177 of the agenda, and given the recommendation is consistent with the board's past action on two similar appeals, I'd like to suggest that we take this item up as part of the consent agenda. Are there any concerns from the board on that?
No.
No? Great, thank you very much. Any public comment on the McFarland District Appeal? No? Great, so Senator Wilk, may we keep your motion to include McFarland?
Yes.
Great, thank you. And second from Mr. O'Donnell to include McFarland? Great, thank you very much. May we take the roll, please?
Senator Wilk,
Aye.
Assemblymember O'Donnell,
Aye.
Juan Morales,
Aye.
Cesar Diaz,
Aye.
Daniel Kim,
Aye.
Gail Miller,
Aye.
and that motion carries.
Great, thank you very much. So moving on to financial reports.
Yes, so on page 155, we've been aggressively releasing funds, so we just want to share in October that we released nearly $370 million, so that's great news. And I want to advance to page 157 on the status of funds. So as part of the consent agenda, the board did take action on $115 million in unfunded approvals, so that's great news. We're making a huge clip to that workload, and we also returned nearly $25 million in the program, so that's over 8 projects with either rescissions or closeouts, and that's all we have today. Oops, sorry, let me back that up. We actually have $57 million in full-day candor.
Yep.
We wanted to report out as well. That was also 35 projects. That was part of the consent agenda as well. Very important.
Very, thank you for
Yeah.
that. Any public comment on the financial statement? No, moving on to Mr. Nazarian. We took up the consent agenda and we added the McFarland appeal to it. Would you like to be added to that item?
Please.
As well as the minutes?
Yes.
Thank you.
And an I vote for both, Mr. Nazarian?
I vote for both.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, moving on then, we are moving past the McFarland appeal as we've already done it, moving on to tab 7.
Yeah, tab 7, just sharing the workload report, and we also put out the calendar for next year.
Great, thank you. And you should all have received that. It's on the website, and you should all have received the calendar invites. And we apologize for all the moving around, but because of the construction in the Capitol, we are limited in space. So we appreciate your flexibility, and if the public could just take note of where the meetings are so that you're sure to be able to attend, we appreciate that. So any further public comment on any of the items on the agenda? I don't have any comment cards at this time. If not, we will move into closed session. We will come back into open session and provide a report if you wanted to wait outside. But, so the regular session of the Public State Allocation Board meeting for today is concluded. At this time, we'll meet in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 11126E1 for the purpose of conferring with and receiving advice from legal counsel regarding the status of a pending lawsuit. Upon the conclusion of closed session, I will report out from the closed session. So with that, if you could please excuse yourselves unless you are a member of the board or SAB staff. Are we good?
You all set?
Awesome, okay.
Okay, the SAB is back in session. We met in closed session today pursuant to Government Code Section 11126E1 for the purpose of conferring with and receiving advice from legal counsel regarding litigation brought by CBIA and also litigation brought by Cash in 6 school districts. And we have one more order of business, and that is for any members that haven't been able to vote on the minutes first.
And Senator Roth, how do you vote on the minutes?
Aye.
And then on the, anyone else on the minutes, Lisa?
I think we have everybody
Okay,
on
so
the
that
minutes.
motion carries, and anyone else, and then the consent calendar, which included the McFarland appeal.
Roth, aye.
Senator Roth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank
And that
you.
motion carries.
Great, thank you very much, meeting adjourned. Happy holidays. Thank you.
You see.